against you?
Yes, I have.
I want us to look at that motion. I don't know whether you have a copy of it. You have a copy of the motion, sir?
Yes.
I want you to go to page 2 of that motion. There is an allegation, Honorable Linturi, that you have grossly violated the Constitution, specifically Article 2, Article 10(1)(c). What is your response to that allegation?
My response is that I have not.
You are also accused in that ground, sir, at Roman 2. Now let's stick to Roman 1 first. Of failing, you acted as a state officer by implementing a public policy to approve the procurement of fake fertilizer. My question to you, do your duties as Cabinet Secretary extend to making public procurement approvals?
No.
As a matter of fact, we sat here yesterday and we kept asking for this approval. Have you been shown any approval that you supposedly made on public procurement?
I'm still waiting for one.
You're still waiting for one?
Yeah, which hasn't come.
Please confirm that your duties are described at paragraph 6 of your affidavit.
Yes.
Do those duties, as outlined there, extend to approving public procurement decisions?
Not at all.
I want to show you, sir, the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. Can you read for us Section 5(2), sir, of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act?
A provision of an act that provides for a person or body to approve any work or expenditure shall not be construed as giving that person or body any power with respect to the entire procurement proceedings.
So let us assume, for argument's sake, the Honorable Linturi, we know it is not proven, but we can assume it for argument's sake. If we assume for argument's sake that you indeed approve some procurement decision, would the section you just read justify imposing liability on you?
No.
No. I want to show you again Section 69. Section 69(1) of the same law, which is, Honorable Chair, the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. Can you read it to the committee?
All approvals relating to any procedures in procurement shall be in writing and properly dated, documented, and filed.
So we have been told approvals must be in writing, dated, and filed. This accusation against you, which runs 10 times in this motion, have you been shown the writing through which you supposedly approve public procurement decisions?
No.
As a matter of fact, Honorable Cabinet Secretary, do Cabinet Secretaries approve matters relating to government operations in writing or orally?
In writing.
In writing. Would I be correct to say that is actually a constitution of command?
Precisely.
So we have a motion here accusing you 10 times, quote unquote, approving public procurement decisions. Have you seen any writing in hand of that approval?
I haven't.
Have you seen any that is typed?
None.
Have you seen any in electronic version?
None.
None. So you will agree, therefore, whichever way we look at this matter, to the best of your knowledge, sir, has this allegation been made out? Has it been proved?
It's not.
I want to show you again provisions of the Procurement Act. Honorable Chair, I'm about to refer to Section 44 and 45. Please read to the Honorable Committee the heading for Section 44. What is the title of that section of the Procurement Act?
Responsibilities of the accounting officer.
Responsibilities of the accounting
officer.
Does that section, to the best of your knowledge, impose any responsibility on the Cabinet Secretaries?
No.
No. But can you read for us subsection 1, sir?
An accounting officer of a public entity shall be primarily responsible for ensuring that the public entity complies with the Act.
So, who bears, according to the decree by Parliament, responsibility for public procurement decisions?
The accounting officers.
Are you the accounting officer of the Ministry of Agriculture?
I am not.
Are you, sir, the accounting officer of the National Cereals and Produce Board?
I am not.
Let us go to Section 45. What is the heading?
Corporate decisions and segregation of responsibilities.
Two things. Corporate
decisions. And
does that idea of corporate decisions, is it consistent with a single big guy running the show, or does it connote a collegial and structured decision making?
A structured decision.
Structured decision making. When he talks of segregation of responsibilities, does that leave any room for someone without an assigned duty in the procurement process to interfere with it?
No.
But let's go to 5, subsection 5.
Or 45.
Yes. What does it say, sir?
For the avoidance of doubt, all public officers or state officers involved in procurement or asset disposal processes shall bear responsibility for their actions and omissions.
So it says state officers, and you are one, sir, if they are involved, the operative word being involved, then they shall bear responsibility, isn't it?
Yes.
Has any material been placed before this committee to show any involvement on your part?
Not at all.
But it also says, sir, their involvement is not just generic, but for their specific acts and omissions, to the best of your knowledge. Has this committee been shown any specific act on your part?
No.
This part 5, Honorable Cabinet Secretary, what is its title just above 44 of the statute you're reading? What is the title of the statute?
Above?
The heading of that chapter of the statute. What is the...
Part 4. Part
yes,
5.
Part 5.
Internal organization of procuring entities.
So, this part as a section 44 you confirm, which you just read, on the roles of accounting officers. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
It has a section 45 on corporate decisions and segregation of responsibilities.
Yes.
It also has a section 46 on the face of it, as part of the segregation of responsibilities, a body called an evaluation committee.
Yes.
Were you ever part of the evaluation committee that processed these tenders?
No.
Okay. The next section is 47, about the procurement function. Please read 47.1.
A procurement function shall be handled by procurement professionals whose qualifications are recognized in Kenya.
So it says all procurement functions must be handled by procurement professionals.
Yes.
Are you a procurement professional?
No.
It has a 48 on an inspection and acceptance committee, correct or incorrect?
Correct.
Were you, sir, part of the inspection and acceptance committee for the procurement of the fertilizer in question?
I was not.
It has a section 49 on procuring agencies. And yesterday we were shown some agency agreements. It talks of sector-specific procurement agencies. Were you an agent in any procurement of the NCPP?
No.
It talks of consortium buying. Were you involved in any aspect of consortium buying?
No.
So that we don't spend too much time, Honorable Minister. We have this chapter that is heading at just the next section, which I haven't shown you, about transfer of responsibility. In that structured, those are not my words, corporate segregation of responsibilities, do we have any role? We have seen evaluation committees, we've seen agents, we've seen accounting officers, and many other things. Have we seen, can we see anywhere in that chapter of the Procurement Act a role for the Cabinet Secretary?
Not at all.
Sir, in number B,
Oh.
you are accused of, that is page 3, Honorable Chair, of gross violation of Article 46, and the words used through and through is that it appears, Honorable Linturi. The allegation is looking at you, the mover formed the impression. 1B, Roman 1.
This document doesn't appear to have a B.
That would be page 3.
Yeah. There's Roman 2, Roman 3.
No, it has Roman 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
Okay. I think we are running into that problem, Chair, of pagination and whatnot, but it's okay. It's not a major issue. We'll get there shortly.
Where?
And Chair, because I said the refraction errors, I plan to dedicate 1 hour to Mr. Mawira so the committee can warn me once we reach 3 hours, then Mawira can do 1 hour. Have you found it, Mheshimiwa?
Yes.
It is said there that it appears you have committed, and my question to you, the allegation is that it appears. Can you see that word appears?
Yes.
To the best of your knowledge, sir, can we just look at people and based on how they appear, we conclude they are grossly violating the Constitution?
It's not possible.
If I look at you and I don't like your face, would that be a valid ground for saying it appears this person has committed a gross violation?
No.
To the best of your knowledge, sir, this allegation of appears, repeated 10 times in this motion, as the mover disclosed these things is able to see with his eyes that we all can't see. As he showed how it appears that you have committed a gross violation of the Constitution.
What's the question?
I'll rephrase. Let's stick to B for now. You are accused, sir, of violating consumer rights to the right of goods and services of reasonable quality and protection of their health, safety, and economic interests. Are you a distributor of any goods that are at the inquiry before this committee?
No, I'm not.
Are you a manufacturer of any of the goods that are at the inquiry?
No.
But the Honorable Linturi, do your duties as Cabinet Secretary extend so that you're sure they are of the right quality? Is that your duty as Cabinet Secretary?
No.
As a matter of fact, Honorable Linturi, do you even have the qualifications that would enable you to know this is fake fertilizer and this is genuine fertilizer?
I don't.
Would I be right therefore to say, as Cabinet Secretary, you are wholly dependent on the advice and judgment of independent agencies of state on this matter?
Correct.
In paragraph C, it is said, sir, again you appear to have violated Article 73. What is your response?
I have not.
Has any material to the best of your knowledge been placed before this committee to show how you are supposed to have violated this article?
None.
Let's go to ground 1D. Alleged violation of Article 201. Sir, what is your response to this?
I am not, or I did not violate Article 201. And
as a matter of fact, Honorable Cabinet Secretary, you having no role as per the statute, is it possible for a person who by law has no business being involved to violate that article in a procurement context?
No.
Let's go to ground 1E. And I would want you to be shown Article 152.5. Can you read Article 152.5A?
Article 5, 1A reads as follows. The President may reassign a Cabinet Secretary, may dismiss a Cabinet Secretary. Do I continue to see?
Yes.
Shall dismiss a Cabinet Secretary if required to do so by a resolution adopted under clause 6 to 10.
So at page 5 of the motion, ground number E, the allegation is that you have breached a constitutional provision that speaks to the powers of the President. What is your response to that, sir?
It's very ridiculous, and that allegation can only be leveled against the President, and it is not possible for me to exercise presidential powers that I'm being alleged to have breached this section, this particular part of the Constitution.
It is also alleged in the same allegation, sir, that you breached paragraph 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 of the same article. Are those articles, let's assume for argument, Honorable Linturi, that you are as bad as you can possibly be, would you be capable, even as the bad guy, of breaching those constitutional provisions?
It's not possible.
It is not possible. It is said, sir, that how you breached this constitutional provision, still on page 5, is that you sent a communication to the Departmental Committee on Agriculture and Livestock, correct?
Yes.
To the best of your knowledge, has that committee completed its work?
It hasn't.
It hasn't. Is the mover of this motion a member of that committee?
No, he isn't.
Would you agree with me, sir, that only that committee by resolution can accuse you of misleading it?
Correct. And, Chair, I can only be accused through that committee unless the standing orders have changed. But when I was here, the standing orders were required committee to table its report, debated by Parliament, adopted by Parliament, and that is when you can comfortably say Parliament has taken a position on a matter and the allegations, therefore, have been ratified by Parliament. So at this stage, you can't.
You can't. But it is also said this matter you are alleged to have lied with relates to GPC, the Atomite Industries. What is the date given of the agreement in question as per that motion?
That the 1st of March 2022.
Now, when you read Roman 1, it says that the cabinet secretary appears to have done this when you lied. Were you the cabinet secretary on the 31st of March 2022?
I was not.
You were not?
Yes.
But you have also been accused of lying to that committee on agriculture that this product is a soil conditioner. Has the mover of this motion placed any material to show that that product was anything other than a soil conditioner? Is there any evidence before the committee to show that GPC, the automations, is not a soil conditioner?
There isn't any evidence that has been tabled before the committee to the contrary.
You have, again on Roman 2 of Ground E, sir, you have accused of overseeing the implementation of the budgets of the NCPB. As the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture, do your duties extend to overseeing the implementation of the budgets of the NCPB?
No.
Are you the controller of budgets, sir?
No.
And are you the accounting officer of the NCPB?
I'm not.
Are you the Auditor General?
No.
Let's go to allegation number 2. On page 6. The claim there, sir, the first claim was about your looks, that when we look at you, the ones we have just exhausted, Honorable Linturi, was that you appear to be a crook. The allegation is appears. Here now, the allegation is that there are serious reasons, not just reasons, for believing that you have committed crimes under the Penal Code. What is your response, sir?
I have not.
In 2A, they cite a letter by Ahmed Nasir. To the best of your knowledge, has Ahmed Nasir come to testify against you?
No.
But Honorable Linturi, lawyers write letters every day on behalf of their clients. To the best of your knowledge, would a lawyer's letter without more be a good reason to dismiss a cabinet secretary from office?
It can't. It can't form basis.
As a matter of fact, in this litigious and controversial country of ours, are you aware of any cabinet secretary who has never been the subject of a demand letter by some lawyer?
I'm yet to get in.
So, would any cabinet secretary survive in office if the threshold for removal was that some lawyer, whether eminent or not, wrote some letter?
Not only cabinet secretaries, anyone holding public office will have a big problem.
They will never survive
They will never
if
survive.
The test was some lawyer.
Correct.
Not even if the
They will
lawyer is
the
very
members.
famous and eminent?
It is not possible.
Okay.
It can't be on ground.
It is said, sir, that in this letter by Ahmed Nasir, you're trying to intimidate a Mr. Davesh of Kel's Chemicals. To the best of your knowledge, we sat here yesterday. Have you seen any affidavit by Mr. Davesh of Chaos Chemicals, swearing that you intimidated him?
I haven't.
Did he come to the committee to testify to these alleged threats?
No. Unless he is the person the committee being asked to call.
Fresh from coming to this committee and say these things that his eminent lawyer says?
No.
You are also accused there on page 6, sir, of ordering the closure of factories. Do your duties as cabinet secretary extend to opening and closing factories?
No.
But as a matter of fact, the Honorable Linturi, you and I have read this motion and you know how many times. Have we seen any evidence of you closing a factory?
No.
Let's go to page 7. Roman 1 at the top. The accusation there is the conduct of one Franklin Mithika Linturi, acting, quote unquote, Honorable Chair, acting in his role as the cabinet secretary. Then they cite a decision by the High Court, Honorable Lady Justice Ongundi, of 30th November 2021. Were you the cabinet secretary for agriculture? Because the allegation is whatever you say to have done, you are doing a quote unquote acting in your role as the cabinet secretary. Were you the cabinet secretary for agriculture as of the date of this judgment?
No.
It is said in that same allegation, sir, that the Honorable Lady Justice Ongundi ruled against you on these family, criminal, civil, and commercial disputes. Is that correct?
No, it's not correct.
Is this dispute, sir, one of those that were yesterday called love and affection disputes? This petition number E068, the subject of the ruling mentioned there.
Unfortunately, it is.
It is. And of course, we were told there were 32 others.
Yes.
What do you want to tell this tribunal about these 32 love and affection disputes?
Chair, one thing is that I have a conscience, and I'm always very truthful to my conscience, and that is why I meant full disclosure without being prompted, even when I came before, when I went before Committee of Parliament during my vetting, because I had nothing to hide, and I wanted the country to understand, to know Linturi and the kind of tribulations that he had to undergo to get to that position, or to get where we were at that time, so that in the future, even if they are brought out, then it's on record that I volunteered that information because there was nothing to hide, because there was a statement of fact that these cases were there. But most importantly, members of the committee, is that all these cases revolve around parties or around an individual that unfortunately who are friends, and for whatever reason that may not even be very material to these proceedings, then that relationship could not hold, and out of our own volition decided to bring so many cases which I had to defend. And out of the few selected cases here, there is none that I lost. There is even a very interesting case, which is also which was mentioned, but whose light we did not even send, which also very appears interesting. And it was case number 74, where I was even being sued to take responsibility of children who are not mine. So all these cases revolve around that kind of disagreement, and I would just the members of the committee want to really allow me to state them as that, because it has been a very painful experience. This one, when I start thinking about it, makes me break.
No, a mere man is not allowed to break in public, Honorable Linturi. Just tell the committee, you mentioned tribulations you have undergone because of these personal disputes. Can you please shed more light on those tribulations? Who was the author of those tribulations? How long did they last? And what format did they take?
Members of the committee, I think
Wanna CS be a bit louder?
Just like you mentioned yesterday, you know, we had 5-year or 6-year running battles with the former administration, and especially people that were believed to belong to a certain side or to a certain team that was in support of a presidential candidate. Remember, we were tagged as Tanga, and it appeared that I was one of them. And during this time, so many things were done to me, because I was conned, I was talked to, I was intimidated, and all sorts of tricks were used to coerce me not to believe in the candidature or in the person that I was supporting. And because these cases, or that was almost the beginning of these cases, that administration or the leaders then decided to take advantage of that situation and latched on them, and I became a victim of serious persecution, including the interfering with even, business that really did not even concern this. It was not a very easy period for me, and I think it's also common in knowledge, because I've been trained in the media forever, and people do not care whether you have a child. Internet does not forget. I was painted as a person. Even a rape case was a choreographer. Let me finish, because it reminds me of those very bad memories. Because at time it took the intervention of Parliament itself. Because I was arrested when we were seriously even debating very serious bills in the Senate, and a decision was to be made, and numbers really counted, and to be arrested so that I did not participate, even vote for what was on the floor, and took the magnanimity of Parliament, or the Senate, to suspend the sittings of Parliament so that I wouldn't be produced before the Senate because of what was happening. Chair, members of this committee, that is just one of them. I mentioned it yesterday. And this has never happened in the history. In history anywhere, I'm yet to find where you find divorce matters being conducted in public. There is a reason why they are never done, but all these media stations here threaten the country to a comedy about a marriage and divorce for a marriage that never existed. The judgments are here. It was all comedy, it was all persecution. Members of the committees, I was kicked out because of the support of that administration from my own house for 6 years. A house I'd spent money to build, and I could not. People were given protection to occupy my house forcefully because is nothing we could do. But the only mistake we had done was to support a candidate for president who did not find favor with that administration. So, members of the committee, when I look at this thing and the story, even after appearing before this committee and explaining myself, volunteering information, and you remember yesterday, the mover of the motion who is here, and the audacity to tell me, ukiachwa achika. You know what that means, niachwe niachike, but that should show you, Chair, and members of this committee, that this matter has not been that easy. I am not following up on anything, but the question I'm asking myself, or any other man here, or any other good leader here, because today people have relationships. They may not work. To what extent can you completely push them? If the courts have determined these matters that are being canvassed here, or in support of this motion, the rulings and judgments are in my favor. And considering the nature of these cases, the evidence, some of them getting this type of evidence, must tell you really need to be close to someone who knows about these cases, so that it becomes easy for you to look for any relevant material that can support you. So what I am saying, Chair, is that it is unfortunate, but because these issues have been raised here, I have to really mention them. It will not be my wish, because probably my children are watching the father there. And it's a very trying moment. And some things we leave to God, because there's nothing much we can do, but when we are faced with such situations, and because we must also clear ourselves, we must speak on these matters. So that is what, and I really respectfully support women. I am one because I have daughters. My mother herself, I think my mother is a woman who prays for me every time. I may not be a person who goes to church every time, but I think the strength that I have to face such situations are prayers from my mother. I have, were it not for my mother, I would not be here where I am. I have no reason to disrespect women. And probably those women that have interacted with me properly without really taking advantage of me, know the kind of a person who I am. Because I have never disrespected women. I really love women because I know this country can't be what it is without women. I am a believer in the empowerment of women at a personal level.
Now,
And
Honorable Linturi, just so that we make progress, because it's easy to get stuck on this matter, tell the committee how it felt to be accused on TV headlines, newspaper headlines, falsely as a rapist. Just a brief answer. How did they feel as a father, as an honorable member of parliament, to be subjected to TV, camera screens, newspaper headlines that you are a rapist?
Chair, there cannot be any other embarrassing situation like finding yourself
Honorable
on
CS,
TV.
Honorable CS, Senior Counsel, have a point of order? Or?
Well, my lady, you have to guide us. The committee has to guide us to what extent we can be involved in matters of relationship of the cabinet secretary with a specific woman or with women.
Your Honor, it is my case. I told you yesterday, I have really refrained from engaging my senior on these interjections. It is my case. If the way I do it doesn't persuade the tribunal, if I'm delving on irrelevancies, it is my risk. He's a learned counsel, very eminent learned counsel. He knows, and he knows what he's doing is not right. Let me be protected to prosecute my case. If I fail, I have previously failed in many other cases. This will just be another one.
Thank you, Counsel. Senior Counsel, you know very well that the CS it is quite clear that under allegation number 2, I believe, Honorable Wamboka brought out that under his motion. And so when they are covering that, it is, I think, in response to that. Again, you will get your time to re-examine, the cross-examine. So just wait for your time to come so that you can prosecute the matter further. But for the time being, let us progress so that we don't interfere. Thank you.
And Honorable Linturi, let's keep the answers brief because, like I said yesterday, Chair, I appreciate the difficulties of navigating this area. Honorable Linturi, how did they feel to be accused for 5 years non-stop of being a fraudster and a man who forges documents, obtains credit using stolen title deeds, and all the other things listed in Ground 2?
The Chairman, it's not the space that you really would want to find yourself in, but it really takes you when you are accused of such. So the lowest levels in society. Chairman, and I say this because, just like I mentioned, we have children. We teach our children. We discuss sexuality. This is an era where there are diseases all over. And anybody that would imagine that I would do such things is someone that would have wished you death.
You've mentioned diseases, Honorable Linturi. Please tell the committee how it felt to be portrayed for 5 years in a state-sponsored campaign in the media as a man who passes around venereal diseases, because those were some of the issues in these cases.
And just like I said, it feels very, very bad. It is really, really painful.
How did it feel, Honorable Linturi, to be portrayed on newspapers, on TV stations, on radios for 5 years as a man walking around with fake academic papers?
I also want to say it is very, very bad. It is wrong for anybody to do that. But I am really to ask for prayers and God's intervention to give me the energy and the courage to shut down. Otherwise, and I also thank God and the prayers, because I never, and the slightest of attack of pressure or any other kind of disease, because that would have brought me down.
How did they feel, Linturi, for 5 years? Every possible opportunity on TV, on newspaper, whatever forum, being portrayed as a serial womanizer.
Of course, it feels bad.
Just for the record, Honorable Linturi, because we don't want to be seen to be trying to extract undeserved sympathy, between you and the mover of this motion, who has introduced these love and affection cases to this committee? You have to answer on the mic. Between you and the mover of the motion, who has brought these issues of love and affection to the committee? Is it you or is it the mover?
It is the mover.
Honorable Linturi is still back on that campaign. You told this committee that various judges and magistrates ruled in your favor in all of those allegations. Correct or incorrect?
It's correct. They ruled in my favor.
So my question, sir, did you see the media cover your vindication by various judges and magistrates with the same level of excitement and exaggeration they had used to cover the allegation?
I want to say no, and there's even a testimony into these papers of what transpired yesterday.
Honorable Linturi, while this motion was going on, the motion we are in, have you been subjected to any negative media publicity?
Quite a lot.
I request that this time, Chair, we play video, I believe number what, Mawira? It must be number 3. The one, the bulletin by Citizen.
Yeah.
Waziri wa Kilimo Mithika Linturi kwa sasa anahojiwa katika makao makuu ya DCI kuhusiana na sakata ya mbolea ghushi. Linturi kwa sasa anaandikisha taarifa huku bunge likijadili hoja ya kumbadua kutoka mamlakani. Mwandishi wetu Seth Olale yuko katika sehemu hiyo na sasa tunaungana naye moja kwa moja. Seth, tueleze hali ikoje katika makao makuu ya DCI? Je, Waziri Linturi ameshatoka ndani?
Na kulingana na undani wa idara hii ya upelelezi DStv ni kwamba Linturi tayari anahojiwa kuhusiana na sakata ya ufisadi wa mbolea ghushi, na kwamba aliweza kufika hapa takriban saa 1 iliyopita, na kwamba ni shughuli tu ya kutaka kujua kiini cha kilichotendeka kulingana na kisa hicho, na kwamba bado haijabainika iwapo atazuiliwa, lakini kwa hivi sasa tu tunaarifiwa kwamba aliweza kufika hapa na anatakiwa tu aandikishe taarifa maalum kuhusu yale yaliyotokea kuhusu madai ya kuhusika kwa sakata ya mbolea ghushi. Kwa kwamba Hii inajiri takriban chini ya saa 24 tangu bunge kuteua rasmi kamati maalum ambayo itachunguza kuhusiana ama madai inayomhusisha waziri Mithika Linturi kwa sakata hiyo. Tayari kamati hiyo ambayo inaongozwa na mbunge na mojawapo ya wanachama 11 tayari imefanya kikao. Kamati hiyo imefanya kikao chake cha kwanza, na tunaripotiwa kwamba ni kikao ambacho kitazungumzia labda ama kitaweka baina masuala kuhusu ratiba, jinsi wale ambao walihusishwa katika sakata hii.
So, Honorable Linturi, to the best of your knowledge, we can stop it there so that we save on time. When was this broadcast made, Honorable Linturi, to the best of your knowledge?
Last week. I don't remember whether you say this date. It's last week. That's Wednesday or Thursday there.
On the 2nd.
On the 2nd, yes.
That is the day this motion was being canvassed before the House. This broadcast says, sir, you have been arrested because of this matter now before the committee, and you are undergoing interrogation at the DCI. Were you arrested?
I was not. I was not even summoned there. And the last time I went to DCI was those years that time.
Would I be right to say, sir, this is the biggest media house in Kenya?
Yes. Even the Star carried an online article.
We'll come to the Star. Let's deal with this one for now. But Linturi, what do you say of this campaign? You have just taken us through a 5-year campaign of negative media publicity. What do you say of the fact that even when the matter is before this committee and parliament, the leading media house in the country is publishing fake news about you?
It's part of the scheme.
It's part of the scheme. Has this media house issued any retraction now that it is common knowledge this was fake news?
Not at all.
Have they even apologized to you?
No.
We are still on these love and affection things. I request we play the next video, which is number 4.
For me, it's economic sabotage. Because if this farmer is not going to grow maize for the next 8 years, for the next 7 years, because of someone trying to get rich right now, putting some state and more urea, that is required by the state.
So should President William Ruto show Mithika Linturi the door?
For me, I think the president should lead from the front on this particular issue, because fertilizer has been his running call, and us within UDA and Kenya Kwanza government have actually run behind, because we have seen the fruits.
So will this be proper for the president to fire Mithika Linturi?
He needs to take action, whatever action that is required of him.
So, Honorable Linturi, who is the person speaking in that video?
That's a member of Parliament for Arundai, who unfortunately was my friend.
So, Honorable Linturi, is it coincidental this honorable member is making calls for your dismissal, and when the motion arrives before the House, it has 32 cases she has filed against you, and she has lost all of them? Is it a coincidence?
It isn't. In fact, this is the move of the motion by proxy.
She's the move of the motion,
yes,
by proxy. But the Honorable Linturi,
Presiding Chair.
Yes, Honorable TJ.
You know, it is very difficult to wade in this area without getting scratched. But let me advise counsel that although these are facts and issue which you must work around, try to walk the thin balance.
I'm guided, you and I always agree because you make perfect sense, so I'm guided.
Just 1 minute. Between casting up aspersions on a member of parliament without a substantive motion and in proceedings such as this, but still retaining your right to talk around these issues. Because if you say two things, one, that it is a coincidence, would it be a coincidence that these things happen around the same time when a member of parliament had said certain things, yet it is the sponsor of the motion who has collected judgments. Judgments are public documents which the sponsor can collect without necessarily...
Not the personal matters, Chair. The divorce causes and disputes are not public documents.
Council, allow Honorable TJ to conclude, then you can come in.
So it is important, in principle, to protect a member of parliament like I. Yet, of course, there are issues that you must cover. So try to walk that very difficult balance so that we protect everybody here.
I'm guided, Chair, like I say. The honorable member and I are lawyers and he's my senior, and as you have seen, we agree on many things, and I entirely agree with him even on this. I only request that, yesterday we invited the mover to consider dropping these allegations so that we don't have to be in this unfortunate territory. So I'm not walking a very tight road. I must deal with the allegations in the motion, and here there are natural limits, of course, on how much aspersion we can cast on the honorable member for Aldai. But I'm guided, so let's proceed. The Honorable Linturi.
Council, Honorable Omanyo, you can say something?
Just watched my colleague on the screen, and the advocate has been almost convincing me that putting people on the media like that, and now he's doing the same to the other person. And the CS has said he respects women, he loves them. So why display her like that again on the screen? I'm confused.
Honorable Chair,
you can respond.
The answer is simple. I have a client faced with the ground 2 of the motion that entirely revolves around matters of personal love and affection, which unfortunately, my client, if this motion is upheld by your committee, will not be eligible ever again in his life to hold a public office. And I have an accuser who bases their accusation on personal matters. When they are mentioned, as they must be, unless the allegation is dropped, that's what I said yesterday. We can't eat our cake and have it. For me, I am happy. If the mover is happy to withdraw this allegation, I'll be happy to have everything about these personal matters expunged. But he can't have it both ways. And I have a client to defend. I must do my job. I agree, of course, to the guidance by my senior Honorable Kajuan that there are limits. And I'm an honorable advocate, Chair. I will abide by what are the natural limits that I cannot cross in dealing with this part of the problem. I too am a married man with a wife and children, so I appreciate. And I'm 43 years old, so I know what lines I cannot cross in prosecuting this, but I must represent my client.
Sure. Dr. Nyamai.
Well, Chair, I know this is very sensitive, and
Chair, again, I think we've run into the problem we had yesterday. discovered during the interjection the clock is not stopping, and I don't want to have again to come.
Our team is alert, and they're taking note of that.
Yes.
Well, Chair, these matters that are being raised here, unfortunately, they are there on accusation number 2 or ground 2 in the motion. And I must say that for all of us, it's very difficult to listen and watch this. I do not know whether we can request the good lawyer not to over-explain, because the over-explanation is also affecting your client. We have been seated here watching, and maybe you can explain less. All those 32 issues, which you must find a way of navigating, for the purpose of your client, I think it will be useful that you just do not over-explain. That would be my proposal, Chair.
Again, I'm guided, Chair. I have absolutely no problem with that guidance.
Thank you. Vice Chair, you wanted to say? Okay. Any other member? No. Council, it is quite clear that the process you are taking us through, and especially on this particular matter, is very sensitive and moving people emotionally, including your client, as Honorable Member has said. But we can't run away from it again because it is in the motion. But what we are saying is, please take care of people's emotion, while at the same time you will be able to bring out issues that matter and are relevant. Thank you.
I will ask only 2 more questions on this matter. Honorable Linturi, all these so-called personal love and affection issues in ground 2, did they happen before or during your tenure as Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture? They happened before. To the best of your knowledge, sir, does Article 152 on removal of Cabinet Secretaries under a motion such as the one before us apply to events that took place before appointment?
No.
Last question on that area, Honorable Linturi. How many people in your estimation would survive removal from office if personal love and affection and broken relationships were the standard for removal from office?
None at all. None. Including none.
None would survive. Let's go to allegation number 3. Luckily, Chair, we are past that difficult territory. That is on page 8, sir. You're accused of breaching the Leadership and Integrity Act. Can you see that allegation in paragraph 3A?
Yes.
It is said, sir, that the reason you are sought to be removed from office is that you were engaged in a public, operative word being public, a public spat with journalists. As the mover presented before this committee evidence of you being engaged in a public spat with journalists?
No, he hasn't.
In the type of world we live in, Honorable Linturi, would it be difficult to prove, quote-unquote, public spat with journalists?
No.
Because the journalist would have recorded it anyway. That's what they do for a living, right?
Yes.
Has this committee been shown any recording of that public's part?
We haven't seen any.
But we are told the evidence of this is a press statement that was issued by Ms. Faith Odhiambo, President of the Law Society. Has that person sworn any witness statement before this committee?
She hasn't sworn in.
Did she come to testify in support of this motion?
No.
But the Honorable Linturi again, on a typical day in Kenya, how many press statements are issued against cabinet secretaries?
So many.
So how many cabinet secretaries will survive in office if a press statement issued by whoever person would be the threshold for removing a cabinet secretary from office?
None will survive.
Again, the same press statement mentioned the issue of fertilizers in Graph 3B, rather revoking licenses. Has any evidence been placed before?
No.
None. You were shown a number, rather we were shown a number of letters yesterday. A number of letters authored by your permanent secretary. I request it be shown the letters, Honorable Chair. But I can put the question since he has had the chance. The Honorable Linturi, does any of those letters by the permanent secretary indicate how you may conceivably have committed a gross violation of the Constitution?
No.
Does any of those letters have any bearing on any of the three allegations before this committee?
No.
No.
In fact, some of them try to exonerate us or exonerate me from blame.
In fact, some of them exonerate you.
Yeah.
So, Honorable Linturi, based on the text of those letters, the good thing with letters is they speak for themselves.
Correct.
Has any basis been laid for this committee to summon your permanent secretary on the inquiry before it, based on the text of those letters?
No, not at all.
Yesterday again, we were told many things, sir, about the Fertilizer Act. And I've just taken you to allegation number 1, allegation number 2, and allegation number 3. Is there any allegation in this motion accusing you of the breach of the Fertilizer and the Animal Foodstuffs Act or any other law?
None at all.
None at all. But as a matter of fact, the Honorable Linturi, are you guilty of failing to implement any provisions of that act?
No.
Would you tell this select committee why that act has not been fully implemented?
I want to say, first of all, by way of background, it's quite an old act. I think it dates back in 1965, which was amended again in the year 2015. And when it was amended, introduced the aspect of board. And for purposes of implementation, this has been work in progress. It's been work in progress because as a ministry, we tasked the Director Crops and Director Veterinary Services to, in the meantime, be dealing with the issue. A task force was formed, even in my absence. I was not the minister, but that is the record that we have. So, because there's a number of technical challenges that requires to be addressed. So, the Act does not say by when, but processes have started. A task force was formed. It's coming up with a report. So, I don't think it's really fair to bring that issue for me even to comment about it when it's not part of the allegations or one of the allegations I'm facing before this committee. In fact, it's irrelevant to the proceedings.
Yesterday, Honorable Linturi, whenever we asked the mover, he kept talking about perception and your character. Whenever we cornered him, there is no specific allegation. I don't know whether you're following my question, Mr. Witness. The mover of this motion told the committee many times about your perception, your character, your reputation, therefore you should be removed from office. What do you have to say to that?
I have also tried to look at the grounds for removal of office, and the perception is not really one of the grounds that can form basis of removal of anyone from the office.
Let's assume for a moment, Honorable Linturi, for argument's sake, that one can be removed from office because they have such a terrible reputation. We're just asking for argument's sake. Assuming that were a ground, would it apply when that terrible reputation is a result of a 5-year state-sponsored negative campaign against you?
No, it can't be.
Honorable Linturi, you are a lawyer, or is it my assumption?
I am.
Under our legal system, to the best of your knowledge, are we allowed to judge people based on their reputation and character and how they are perceived?
No.
Let's come to the testimony of Titus Kiprotich. Did he say he had read or had not read the motion before the committee? Please answer on the mic.
He said he had not read the motion.
As a matter of fact, did he say he did not even know that the witness statement he wrote was to be used in these proceedings?
He didn't, yes he did.
So, Honorable Linturi, a witness is brought against you, and his testimony is that he has not even read the allegations against you. What do you say to that?
And without really trying to judge, probably the witness did not even, the witness himself admittedly didn't know even the contents of the motion.
Honorable CS, there is a member of parliament who wants to say something, a member of this committee. Honorable Nyumanyo.
I think we should be honest. The witness said he did not come to impeach anyone, but he only had evidence of fake fertilizer.
Those are not my notes, Honorable Chair, and maybe your answer can confirm because it's a matter of record.
Allow me to respond to Honorable Manyo. Honorable Manyo, as I said yesterday, the information you have said, we are all aware. We are all witnesses. We heard what that individual witness said. So please, sober up. I know you want to represent the people on the ground, but we are here as select committee. So take your role and listen. Thank you.
Sir, one of the other testimony brought against you was by Abandoned Kuria Wajiko. Did he say he had read or had not read the motion against you?
He had not read.
He had not read. This gentleman testified about a fertilizer called Mavuno. To the best of your knowledge, is that particular brand of fertilizer one of those that are at the inquiry by this committee?
No.
It is not one of them.
Yes.
So again, Linturi, you have a witness who came. He says he never read even the motion against you. And the fertilizer he is testifying about is not even one of those at the inquiry. What do you have to say to that?
He never knew what he was coming here to do or what was the contents of discussion by this committee.
There was David Maina. This is the gentleman from Africa who allegedly got a report from Africa and censored. Did he say he had read or he had not read the motion against you?
He had not read.
So again, you're confronted by a witness who has not even read the allegations against you. But this gentleman was purporting to speak to some reports. Did he say he was the author or was not the author of those reports?
He said he was not the author.
This gentleman was called here supposedly as an expert on fertilizers. Was he able to present before this committee, to the best of your knowledge, any evidence that he is an expert on the chemical composition of fertilizer?
He did not produce any.
Okay, let's come to Sami Kiptum Brigan. I hope I'm not, Honorable Cheriot, massacring the name. Sami Kiptum Birgen. Did he say he had read or had not read the motion against you?
He had not read.
So again, Honorable Linturi, we have a witness coming here to persuade the select committee should be dismissed from office, but he has not even read the allegations against you. What do you have to say to that?
We can't take him to be serious.
We can't take him to be serious. Did this witness have any certificate of electronic evidence, to the best of your knowledge, that would be valid?
None.
None. Heavy weather yesterday was made about the poor and the vulnerable. Honorable Linturi, without trivializing the very unfortunate things that happened to some of our farmers, is the administration of justice supposed to be done based on economic or social status, or should the process be blind to status?
It shouldn't be blind to status.
Let's come to the testimony of Hosea Kipketer Ruto. Did Kipketer Ruto testify that he had read or had not read the motion against you?
He had not read.
What do you have to say to that? That the witness called to prove the allegations against you is not even aware of what the allegations are?
Probably he may have even been duped by the mover to come here when he really didn't know exactly what he was coming to do. So we can't take his evidence seriously.
We can't take his evidence seriously. So, Honorable Linturi, we have the mover of the motion. He was unable to point a specific act or omission on your part. And every witness is called and not even read the allegations against you. What do you say to that?
Of the committee, that's a clear demonstration of how trivial is really meant this matter by calling people who never knew exactly what they were coming to answer to. And this can be demonstrated by his absence in these proceedings today, because, you know, the story that we learned was about farmers' interests, the issues that we all and to listen to is presenting the country. So how his absence here in these proceedings also me form the opinion probably he was also not serious about this matter and must have been on a fishing expedition.
Honorable Linturi, you have attached a number of documents to your affidavit, and I want us to quickly run through them. Let's go to document under flyer number 2. What is this document, Honorable Linturi?
This is a charge sheet.
It's a charge sheet. Yes. Who is the accused person there?
Is Christine Nyambura Muturi.
Do you know that person?
I know this person to be one of the wives of Mheshimiwa Wamboka, who was married on the 15th of May 2023 in the United States, in Arizona. And they have 2 children that are surviving.
And what is she accused of?
Cheating.
According to this charge sheet?
Is cheating contrary to Section 315 of the Penal Code.
So, the Honorable Linturi, what do you have to say about this grad studying accuser of yours and the fact that in his own nuclear family there are accusations of this type?
Chair.
Honorable TJ.
Counsel, what are you leading to in your line of questioning? That specific area? What are you looking
Honorable Chair, the move of this motion has taken the posture of a gentleman who cares about our society, the public interest, the vulnerable. He is public-spirited. He's a bona fide man acting in good faith. Clearly, it must say something if he can't do charity at home. I'm trying to build basically the case which I'm allowed under the law to discredit the character of my client's accuser, but more importantly...
I get you, Chair. Just leave it there.
I hadn't finished, so there is another reason.
No, just a minute.
Yes.
You know, when we subject issues in public glare, the more we speak about them, the more we accentuate the defamation therein. In fact, just as the Chair had guided you, you may think that you are vindicating and exonerating your clients, but the more you project and trumpet them, the more you increase the readership, the audience, which therefore, just defamation.
Again, I'm guided, Chair, like I said, I always agree with my senior. I want them to skip senior, I'm guided.
No, the issue I want to drive at here, the charge sheet you have shown us is just a charge sheet. You know that there must be a conviction to carry the issues that you're talking about. And so if you don't have a conviction, would you be persuaded to leave that type of questioning for another day until there is...
I'm guided, so we don't need to spend more time on it. Just to say I was not
and
being
accusation over accusation does not make anything right. You know, it really doesn't.
Honorable Linturi, let's go to the document at page 49 of your bundle. 49, yes. Yes. What is that document, sir?
Of Financial Serious and Produce Board.
That's the organizational
structure.
Of what?
NCPB.
Is that the agency that was procuring the fertilizers in question?
Yes.
From that organizational structure, has the Cabinet Secretary been assigned any powers with regard to public procurement at NCPB?
No.
Let's go to the procurement department under that organizational structure at page 55 of the bundle, who is indicated as the topmost person on matters to do with procurement at the National Cereals and Produce Board.
It's the manager procurement.
Who is below them?
The deputy manager.
And there are, of course, several other people below them.
Yes.
Is the Cabinet Secretary indicated there as one of the people who have any duty or role or power on matters to do with procurement at NCPB?
No.
Let's go to page 63, sir. What is that document?
Is the application or invitation for tender, an advertisement to supply fertilizer.
Who has issued that advert in the middle?
The Managing Director, National Cereals and Produce Board.
The Managing Director?
Yeah.
Are you the Managing Director of NCPB?
No.
Okay. Let's go to page 64. What is that document, sir?
It's a clarification of the advert.
It's a clarification of the advert. Who has signed it at page 65?
The Managing Director, for Managing Director, I signed for the Managing Director.
Is this your signature?
No.
But back to page 64. Can you read for the select committee the words that are highlighted there?
Kindly note that the specifications published in the tender document was indicative. You are required to provide your specifications as per your formulation in line with the KEBS standards, upon which evaluation shall be based from both the planting and top dressing fertilizers.
So the request was for fertilizer that complies with KEBS standards?
Yes.
Is that consistent with the accusation repeated 10 times in the motion?
It is not.
That there was
fake
approval for procurement of fake fertilizer? Is it consistent or inconsistent?
Inconsistent.
Let's go to document number 3. What is that document, sir?
This is a decision of the Public Procurement and Administrative Review Board.
That is the court or tribunal that determines procurement disputes, isn't it?
Yes.
And who are the parties?
Aon Kenya Insurance Brokers and Teacher Service Commission.
Now, I want us to go to one of the issues this tribunal resolved in that matter. When is the date of this decision? The date is on page 105.
20th February 2015.
It's like 9 years ago, right?
Yes, yes.
So the matter we are discussing was settled 9 years ago. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
Now let's go to page 94. Please read to the tribunal the parts of that decision that are highlighted, that is relevant to the inquiry before us.
The board therefore accepts the applicant's submission that the commissioners or any other officer or employee of the Teacher Service Commission were strangers to the procurement proceedings, and their decision to terminate their warrant of the tender meant in favor of the applicant was therefore unlawful. Under the provisions of Section 26 of Section 4 of the Act, every procuring entity is required by law to establish a procuring unit, a tender evaluation / processing team, the tender committee, and such other bodies as are required by the regulations for the purposes of making decisions on behalf of the public entity as are specified in the Act and the regulations. Once such bodies have been established, it is only the said bodies which are empowered to undertake any tender process to the exclusion of everybody else.
Does this decision confirm the part 5 we read on segregation of responsibilities and structured corporate decision-making systems?
It does.
Let us go to your document number 4, sir. What is that document?
This is a survey report by the Central Bank of Kenya on the performance of the agriculture sector up to March 2024.
Is the Central Bank of Kenya a semi-autonomous agency?
It is.
Under which ministry does it fall?
Finance.
It falls under the
Treasury.
Ministry of Finance. Would I be right, therefore, to say you have no capacity to influence reports of this agency in your capacity as Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture?
You are right.
Would you call this agency of the Republic of Kenya a respected or a non-respected public agency?
Very respected.
Very highly respected. Would I be right, sir, to say this institution is respected not just locally but globally?
Yes.
Let's go to this report or survey report they wrote, page 110 of your Badu. Can you read on the second column of page 110 the words that are highlighted?
In this regard, a large share of respondents cited the continued positive impact of pump price reduction by EPRA and the government subsidized fertilizer initiative. The proportion of respondents who reported to have accessed the subsidized fertilizer increased significantly in March 2024 relative to the January 2024 survey. Most farmers rely on rain-fed agriculture, and the uptick in fertilizer intake in March 24 was a strategy to capitalize on the March-May 24 long rain season.
You know, Honorable Linturi, everywhere there has been made about poor, vulnerable farmers, and we are not trying to rubbish or in any way diminish the misfortune some farmers suffered. But isn't there also in this CBK report a positive story from the farmers?
Yeah.
Should this committee only consider the very unfortunate story which we acknowledge? Or should it also consider these positive stories recognized by none other than the Central Bank of the Republic of Kenya?
They shouldn't consider other stories, both.
Good. Let's go to page 111. Again, what does the Central Bank say? Their study revealed. It's highlighted there.
Most respondents attributed their optimism to the recent appreciation of the Kenya shilling, which they expect will be sustained. Expectations that the subsidized fertilizer initiative would continue and that the March-May 2024 long rain season would be favorable.
At page 106, what is the date of this report by CBK?
March 2024.
And on the motion before the Assembly, rather before the committee, what is the date of the motion?
Let us check actually.
On what date was the notice of the motion before us given?
24th April.
24th April.
Yes.
So, it will follow, therefore, that this CBK report is much older than the motion before us.
Correct.
It must also, therefore, follow that this CBK report cannot have been authored with this motion in mind.
It cannot.
Let's go to page 115.
Okay. Several farmers indicated that proper timing in issuance of subsidized fertilizer and the quality of fertilizer assessed were important factors that support increased acreage.
So again, without trivializing the misfortune some farmers suffered, is this a positive or negative story? What you just read?
Yes.
Is it positive or negative?
It is positive.
Good. Let's go to page 117. Again, can you read the highlighted part, sir?
Access to government subsidized fertilizer. The proportion of respondents who reported to have accessed government subsidized fertilizer increased substantially to 67% in March 2024 from 53% in January 2024 survey.
An increase of 67%.
Yeah.
Would that depict you as a successful cabinet secretary or the rogue cabinet secretary? The move of the motion would want the world to believe.
From my judgment, he is a successful cabinet secretary.
Actually, a very successful cabinet secretary.
I was being modest.
Let's go to 121, page 121 of this document. Again, what does the Central Bank of the Republic of Kenya say? as a successful cabinet secretary or the rogue cabinet secretary, the move of the motion would want the world to believe?
From my judgment, is a successful cabinet secretary.
Actually, a very successful cabinet secretary.
I was being modest.
Let's go to 121. As a successful cabinet secretary or the rogue cabinet secretary, the move of the motion would want the world to believe?
From my judgment, is a successful cabinet secretary.
Actually, a very successful cabinet secretary.
I was being modest.
The move of the motion would want the world to believe?
From my judgment, is a successful cabinet secretary.
Actually, a very successful cabinet secretary.
I was being modest.
Let's go to 121.
And other financiers to malign my name, and this is the story I made reference to that was carried by the Star newspaper purporting that I'd been arrested together with my deputy, with my permanent secretary.
When did this happen, Honorable Linturi?
This story. The exact date, this is last week. It's the same last week, Thursday or Friday, thereabouts.
It says in the caption there, DPP orders arrest of agriculture CS Mithika Linturi, PS Coroner of alleged fake fertilizer saga.
Yes.
To the best of your knowledge, has the DPP ever ordered your arrest or that of your peers?
No.
Has the Star ever apologized to you or to the peers for this fake news?
They have never, and at no time that they ever written a positive story about me.
Again, is the Star one of the big newspapers in this republic?
Yes, it is.
Let's go to the document at page 132. What is that document, sir?
This is a decision of the Supreme Court of Kenya on the Mike Mbuvi Sonko case.
Yes. Now, I want you to take the committee to page 189 of the Bedu, paragraph 149 of that decision.
Page 189, paragraph
149.
Do I continue?
Please read paragraph 149.
As to the standard of proof in impeachment charges, the Court of Appeal, in its judgment in Martin Nyaga Wambora and 3 others versus the Speaker of the Senate and 6 others, Civil Appeal number 21 of 2014, found that to impeach a governor requires a high threshold, but that standard is neither beyond reasonable doubt nor on a balance of probability. Noting that the threshold for removal of a governor involves gross violation of the Constitution, we hold that the standard of proof required for removal of governor is above a balance of probability, but below reasonable doubt.
To the best of your knowledge, sir, would this standard of proof be met when all the witnesses said they are not even aware what you are accused of?
It will not be met.
could it be met when the mover added cross-examination instead of pointing to the alleged approval, kept debating the motion?
It will not be met.
Okay, let's go to page 190. Next page.
Injunction by senior counsel.
Yes, I will restrain myself deliberately from objecting to anything. Partly because when I do object, you say to me that, look, wait until your time for cross-examination.
Do we stop the clock, Honorable Chair?
Now, we have a witness.
Counsel, senior counsel. Counsel, I confirmed to you that our team is
Yes,
on
the witness being asked about surrender of proof. Should he really be asked? Is that not something my learned friend can comment on when he's making submissions?
Honorable Chair, again, I seek your protection. I have a job to do, and there is no rule I have breached. So let me just be allowed without interjection, because I keep saying, you know, the Honorable Camino is almost my grandfather, and I've really resisted having to have an altercation, because in Meru, where I come from, you don't have an altercation with your seniors, whether they are right or they are wrong. That's the rule in Meru. They are your seniors, they are your elders, but also elders have to also exercise restraint of some sort.
But Chair, Presiding Chair.
Honorable TJ.
I think that is the precise reason why you should accept wisdom from your grandfather on issues of law. Whereas
he is not just my grandfather, he's a partisan player, because he has a client he's representing, and I represent the adversary. If it were just an exchange between a grandfather and grandson, on this one, he is a partisan counsel, just like I'm partisan counsel, and that's why I'm saying, why can't I just be allowed
but
to
just
do my
listen
job?
to me. The wisdom from the patriarch is that you need not cross-examine or lead evidence on opinion on law, because your client that is not here to lead evidence on value judgment on law. We will see them in submissions. You will make submissions on them. And whereas it is very appropriate for you to bring them to our attention, we also want to save time. And so things which will come before us as submissions and judgments which we can make decisions on, you probably can save time. I think that's
Fair
the wisdom.
enough, Chair. Like
that's the wisdom from the old man.
Today I'm not in any quarrelsome mood, and like I've told you, I also always usually agree with my senior on the other side, so let's move on.
Chair, if you allow me, yesterday, not anyone else other than the Vice Chair did mention that this matter is more of a political process. And being or having been in politics for some time, I'm being tried in the public court. And there is also need, and that is why these proceedings are not in camera, for me to also get an opportunity when an opportunity arises to respond to the story that the public has been given. And it is true, whatever happened here yesterday was clearly playing to the gallery. Without that opportunity to explain to the public, I think prejudices me when it comes to issues of how we relate with my colleagues out there, with the public out there, because I was unable to protect.
Counsel, proceed.
Honorable Linturi, let's go to the document number 10 at page 252 of your budget. Please, can you explain to the Honorable Select Committee what this document is and why you have placed it before the committee?
This is This is a letter addressed to me by the DCI in regard to a number of complaints that they were investigating. Reference was made in the motion in regard to my imminent arrest by DCI, and this matter or this letter explains that the cases that were being referred to are cases that were investigated by the DCI. The referral was forwarded to the DPP, and the DPP directed that the files be closed and with no further action. And if, for whatever worth it is, one of these cases, I was the complainant, and in that Justice Ongundi judgment, if you go through it, one and how ended up being the victim. I was the victim, but at the end of the day, I was one to be charged, so that you understand what kind of games were there at that time.
So, Honorable Linturi, we have a motion before this committee that says there are serious reasons for believing you have committed a crime, and we have a letter from DCI confirming that those matters were closed. What is your comment?
You know, that allegations should fall flat, because we have demonstrated to the committee that he did what was said in the motion is not correct.
Let's go to the document number 11. What is that document? And why have you placed it before this honorable committee?
This is a judgment of the court in my favor.
Can you read for us at page 261, the highlighted part?
I think this is what Justice Majanja said, that the first defendant's claim, the first defendant's counterclaim is allowed on terms that the judgment is entered for the first defendant against the plaintiff, second, third, and fourth defendant jointly and severally for the sum of 21,846,607 with interest at the court rates from the date of filing suit until payment in full. I am the first defendant in this matter.
So, Honorable Linturi, this judgment relates to one of the alleged acts of forgery and whatnot against you. And the judge ruled in your favor and even awarded you 21 million shillings. Did the media publicize this victory on your part the way they have been publicizing the allegations against you?
They've never.
Good. Let's go to the document at page 263. Why have you placed it before this committee?
This is also a ruling in my favor on a matter that revolves the occupation and ownership of my house in Runda.
Again, Honorable Linturi, 5 years of negative media publicity about that house, the court has ruled in your favor. Did the media publicize this victory on your part?
They can't.
So the public is still stuck with the image that there was a claim about your house, but they are never told the other side when you win.
They are happy to do that. When we win, we have no access to publicity, and if there has to be there, then you must pay for it.
Let's go to page 278. What is that document?
This is also another. There's an order from the Court of Appeal.
How many judges of the Court of Appeal have made that order?
There are three.
Three judges of the Court of Appeal issued an order in your favor.
Yes.
Did the media publicize this victory?
They did not.
So again, the public is left with the image of Linturi, the bad guy. Never mind, the Court of Appeal has vindicated him.
Yes.
Let's go to the document at page 287. What is it and why have you placed it here?
This is also another judgment.
From which court?
From the Chief Magistrate's Court in Nairobi, and the judgment relates to the much publicized divorce that never was, and again the magistrate ruled in my favor, and the same was never told to the public.
So again, the magistrate has ruled in your favor. The picture painted to the world for 5 years is of a rogue Linturi.
Yes, and I wish today they are televising live, because this is the opportunity probably I may have.
Let's go to page 306. What is that document?
The issue we have here is of fake fertilizer. We are spending a lot of time on love matters. We are spending a lot of time on media. Can you give some guidance really of how?
Honorable Chair, let them withdraw ground number 2. Our work will be very easy. They can't have it both ways.
Chair.
Thank
Chair.
you. Honorable Malulu.
I would like you to restrain our senior counsel, because they're the ones who raised these issues. You can see even the client is pleading that he should also have time for this to be clarified, because yesterday when they were prosecuting this, it was also on the media, live. So when it comes to him now responding, why does he want him not to respond?
You have made your point, Honorable Member. Honorable Jane, then
Chair.
Honorable Manyo.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think it is very unfortunate that the presenter of the motion or the mover of the motion invited us to listen to this kind of information. And you see, it is common knowledge that the issue at hand is the issue of fake fertilizer and the nexus between the fake fertilizer and the CS. But unfortunately, we were presented with a motion that is laced with information on past love affairs and other matters. And as unfortunate as it is, we were invited to that information, and unfortunately the parties have to deal with it.
Thank you, Honorable Manyo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Although we are listening to the CS side, the person being mentioned is not here to defend herself. That's why we are finding it difficult. We cannot listen to one side of the spectrum, and the other side of the spectrum is nowhere. So if we must dwell on this matter, and it's very important, then let Lady Honorable Mary Ann, the ex of the CS, come to defend herself. Otherwise, we are just listening to rhetorics.
Thank you, Honorable Omanyo. You have made your point. Honorable.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. And unfortunately, what we are dealing with as far as this testimony is concerned, are court cases. Those court cases were introduced by the mover of the motion. So surely the respondent has every right to comment on each of those cases. When the mover introduced the cases, sorry about that. Hey, don't say that.
This is a serious matter.
Sorry.
Bedroom affair.
This is very serious.
This is bedroom affairs.
All right, I think the mic is loud enough and you don't have to see me anyway. Honorable Chairperson, the mover of the motion introduced the cases, and the comments we are getting are in respect of each of the cases cited in the motion. So two things we have to say. Number one, the respondent surely has a right to respond to the cases that were put before us. That is number one. Number two, it is very important also to recast that where a witness is actually a lawyer or an advocate, issues of law and opinion can actually be put to him, because that is what our rules provide. So I do not think the council is going out of the way to try and get these cases recited and commented on, because they are part and parcel of the facts in issue before us.
Honorable Yusuf.
Madam Chair, I'm not a lawyer, and I can't argue on the point of law. But if my mind serves me very well, yesterday we restrained Honorable Wamboga not to comment about this issue. It was a debate in this committee. I never wanted to argue about this issue. We want the honorable member CS and his lawyer to restrain themselves on this issue. The way we have reprimanded yesterday, Honorable Wamboka, to restrain himself. Thank you.
Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Tandaza.
Thank you, Chair. I think the process was very clear that the mover actually prosecuted his case based on what he had presented before this committee and before Parliament. And the Mheshimiwa, the CS, also put his replying affidavit in the same manner that he is holding and is being questioned or is being led through by his counsel. So I don't see anything wrong. For as long as the counsel is taking him through his affidavits, which were filed and we have them, then he should rightly proceed, unless he is asking questions beyond what is in those replying affidavits. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I think members have made their points. Honorable Omanyo, you have severally pleaded with us that we invite Marianne. That we will deal with it at our own level later, so that as a select committee, then we can give you our response. The other thing is about the proceedings. Yesterday, we did not stop the mover from presenting his case. And at one stage, the council here proposed that he withdraws so that we don't, deliberate on this. I know some of us are real Africans, and discussing bedroom matters is not very pleasing. But we have been put in this situation by the mover and his counsel. Now that they did not withdrew yesterday, we have no option but we have to wrestle with all this. And ours is just to say we do not want to get into the details, but for every case that has been presented, they are at liberty to respond, so that just as we publicly heard the mover yesterday, they can also respond and the public can also hear their side. I don't know why we are being affected, because if we were not affected yesterday when we heard all this news, we shouldn't be affected today when it is the second day and we are even used to now the things that are happening. So I suggest that we proceed for the next 20 minutes. At 1, we will break for lunch, and then we will come back. Thank you.
Much obliged, Chair. So, Honorable Linturi, the document at page 306, why have you placed it before this committee?
Your Chair and the committee have placed this document before the committee to demonstrate to the committee, contrary to the assertion by the mover, specifically under this civil suit number E138 of 2018, I got favorable judgments from the rulings from the court.
So there is a favorable ruling from the court on the matters in ground 2 again in your favor.
Correct.
Was this favorable ruling on your part ever publicized, like the accusations against you had been?
It was not, and I don't think it will ever be.
It will never be. Let's go to the document at page 314. Why have you placed it before this honorable committee?
It's also to demonstrate the same thing.
Again, the court vindicated you. Was this publicized? Did it headline news?
It was not.
It was not reported.
Yeah.
Let's go to the document at page 319. What is it and why have you placed it before the committee? I hope you note, Honorable Chair, I'm desisting from going into the details because I don't want us to.
This is also another court order which was in my favor and which also was directing the police to give security to evict the member from my house.
Was this decision in your favor, given the publicity that for 5 years the world kept being told about the bad Linturi?
It was not.
It was not publicized. And why have you placed the document at page 320 before the committee?
There is also another document to prove to the committee. Despite her losing those cases, she went for appeal, and the appeal was also dismissed by the court.
So she lost, she appealed, but she still lost.
Yes.
Was that victory on your part, given the publicity, to erase the image the world has been fed for years and years of Linturi the bad guy?
It was never done, contrary to what had been published before, as a man who depends on a woman for livelihood, or is kept.
Do you actually depend on women for livelihood, Honorable Linturi?
I maintain them.
Let's go to the document at page 337, sir.
Yes, 337.
Why have you placed this document before the Honorable Select Committee?
Your Honor, is also to demonstrate that despite the appeal that she made, the court also ruled again in my favor.
So when the court ruled in your favor, was this victory on your part ever publicized the way the allegations against you have been publicized for 5 years?
It was not. And members of the committee, not only did I get these federal court orders, but I also got the costs which I have never asked for. I think it's important.
So, Honorable Linturi, we have gone through decision after decision after decision, through and through and through, and they are all in your favor. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
Are these decisions made by one judge?
No.
Are they decisions made by one magistrate?
No.
Are they decisions made by one court?
No.
Are they decisions made by some clique of judges and magistrates?
No, no.
As a matter of fact, are these decisions from the same court station?
No.
So you will agree that these are well-spread decisions from various judges, various courts, various magistrates?
Yes.
Let's go to the document at page 361.
361?
Yes. Why have you placed this document before the Honorable Committee, sir?
I have placed this document before the committee to demonstrate that the alleged contract that gives leeway or room for Africa, Western Capital African Datomite, to use the NSPB infrastructure to display its GPC and the automatious material was signed or executed long before I assumed the office of Cabinet Secretary.
What is the date given on the face of the document?
That the 1st March 2022.
Were you the Cabinet Secretary?
I was not.
On that date?
No.
To the best of your knowledge, sir, can you be dismissed from office for agreement signed before you took up that office?
If that was to happen, it would be very unfair. And by the way, even the current administration had not come to office. It's not only Mithika Linturi as CS, even the current administration.
So the entire Kenya Kwanza administration had not even come to office?
Yes.
You are accused, sir, through this document, of lying that this agreement was for a soil conditioner and not fertilizer. Does the word fertilizer appear anywhere in this agreement?
I've not seen any at all, and it doesn't.
How many pages does this document have?
I think 5.
5 pages.
No,
and
6.
6.
And then here for
and
7.
across all of them, the word fertilizer or its equivalent doesn't appear anywhere.
Yes.
What do you make then of the accusation against you that you lied to the departmental committee that this was an agreement for a soil conditioner?
I think it's the mover who is trying to mislead the committee and not me. Who is either?
It's the mover who is trying to mislead the committee, not you. Let's go to page 367. L together with 368. Why have you placed those documents before the committee?
I have placed this document before the committee to demonstrate that if I really want the NSPB Chief Executive Officer to exercise caution in the receipt of fertilizer, because I really wanted them to make sure that whoever had won that contract, because I got to know about it when it was over, that all the suppliers were able to file with the institution the fertilizer chemical composition of what they had won in that particular tender, so that we will be able to really to confirm before delivery that farmers will get the right fertilizer to suit their planting requirements.
Please read to the committee the parts that are highlighted in that letter.
There is therefore need to ascertain the quality and composition of fertilizers before delivery to ensure that farmers get the right fertilizer to suit their planting requirements and boost agricultural productivity. And therefore, the purpose of this letter is to ask the suppliers to confirm in writing the fertilizer chemical composition to supply before delivery. This was a
What is the date of this letter, sir?
20th in December 2023.
That was long before the problem the committee is now seized with, isn't it?
Yes.
Is the content of that letter consistent with the allegation of a fraudulent minister who is approving the procurement of fake fertilizer?
It is not consistent.
Is it consistent with the narrative of an incompetent minister who has no clue what is happening in the ministry they have?
It is not.
Is it consistent with the allegation as to the existence of a policy to procure fake fertilizer?
It is inconsistent.
It is inconsistent.
Yeah.
Let's go to 369. You noting the guidance already given by the committee. Why have you placed that document before the committee?
Just like I said, this is what the gossip within the Star newspaper that spreads out stories, trying to say that within sources close to power and intimated that one of the members from the Rift Valley and choreographed the fake fertilizer to have, and if I read, ex-boyfriend CS fired.
Let's go to the document at 371. Why have you placed, what is it and why have you placed it before this committee?
371 is the Evidence Act,
Yes.
which guides procedure of collection of evidence.
And what is your understanding of the highlighted part?
All evidence must be direct. All evidence must, in all cases, be direct evidence. If I read on the purposes of that subsection 1, direct evidence means with reference to a fact which could be seen, the evidence of a witness who says he saw it. With the reference to a fact which could be heard, the evidence of a witness who says he heard it. And the reference to a fact which could be perceived by any other sense or any other manner, the evidence of a witness who says he perceived it by that sense or in that manner.
So this provision of the law, sir, says any accusation against you must be proved by a witness who saw it with their eyes, who heard it with their ears, who touched it with their fingers, or perceived it with any of the other 5 senses. Have you seen any such witness in the proceedings against you?
I have not.
How about the document at page 373? Why have you placed it before the committee?
This is a case by the House of Lords of England on, and is on an appeal from the Supreme Court, and it was on, I think, on hearsay evidence. which the court held that the ones spoken by the woman did not form part of the registered tie and were not therefore accepted from the fundamental rule against.
You say this is a decision of the House of Lords, and you're a lawyer. What type of court is this called the House of Lords?
This is the highest court in England, I think.
It is the highest court in England and Wales. Is it a respected court?
It is.
Is our legal system based on the legal system of England and Wales?
Yes, you remember we are in British colony.
As a matter of fact, Honorable Linturi, is this decision the highest possible judicial opinion you can get on Section 63, which you've just read about direct evidence?
Yes.
Lastly, can you read from that decision at page 379 what the House of Lords held?
This is what the House of Lords are to say. The rule against the admission of hearsay evidence is fundamental. It is not the best evidence, and it is not delivered on oath. The truthfulness and accuracy of the person whose words are spoken to by another witness cannot be tested by cross-examination, and the light which his demeanor will draw on his testimony is lost.
Honorable Chair, I suggest we could leave for lunch at this point. Then when we resume, my learned friend, Mr. Boniface Mawira, will take the remaining part of the examination in chief.
Thank you. We will do exactly that, but I will release all the other parties apart from the select committee so that we can consult for 2 minutes. Yes, we were generous yesterday, and we are still